missão aqui no Sebrae Trends é ser a sua ponte para um mundo de ideias novas e resultados melhores. Por isso mesmo, estamos sempre em busca de histórias e eventos mundo afora e que sirvam de inspiração e aprendizado para você. Recentemente, por exemplo, estivemos em Hamburgo, onde cobrimos a Next Conference, um evento que debateu tendências e inovações no mundo da tecnologia. E o tema deste ano foi Digital Sucks, ou seja, algo como digital é uma porcaria. Mas como assim, João?
Natasha, esse tema realmente coloca um ponto de interrogação em nossa cabeça, né? Afinal, a gente fala e escuta tanto sobre tecnologia e os benefícios dela que fica difícil entender por que o digital é uma porcaria, né? Bom, em partes, isso tem a ver com o fato de que a gente está numa fase de aprendizado. Tudo é muito novo com relação à tecnologia, né? Se a gente contextualizar na história. Toda fase de aprendizado gera o quê? Erros. Então a gente erra muito para aprender depois. E é um pouco de tudo isso que os palestrantes falaram no evento. Eu tive a oportunidade de entrevistar vários deles e bati papos muito interessantes a respeito de inovação, a respeito de tendências e de mudanças comportamentais que a tecnologia está gerando na minha vida, na sua e na lógica dos negócios.
Fiquei curiosa. Você também? Então continue acompanhando este vídeo. Nos próximos minutos você vai saber muito mais sobre tudo isso que o João acabou de falar.
Truth is, digital is only a means. Our focus needs to be today on people, on culture, on society and on impact. And our conversation should no longer start with what digital technology should we use, what digital can do. It's all about using our methods and ultimately shaping experiences that drive change. So yes, digital sucks if that's the first thing that you start your message and your thought with. Digital is great if you use it as a means to create a better place, to create a better message, to create better experiences for people.
I think from Gen Z what we can learn is that technology is not this separate world from the rest of the world. We kind of tend to assume that offline is good intrinsically and that online is addicting and pulling our attention away from the important things. And what Gen Z tells us is that that's just not the case. They're blended together in ways that we can't imagine that are going to continue to happen, and we need to understand that to move forward.
So what we were talking about today was that we're at a very interesting inflection point where the way in which human beings have conversations is about to change. And what we did is we tracked back through history and we talked about the history of conversations. We did this in half an hour, so it was pretty short. And we looked at the way in which technology changes conversations, and it does. And our thesis is that the combination of artificial intelligence, chatbots, voice interfaces is about to change the way we have conversations yet again, and it's a very significant change. So we really got people thinking about what that means, and Thomas talked about the effect that will have on brands, which is potentially, well, definitely enormous.
So a tip for small business is actually to relearn the art of conversation, as a lot of customer service is moving into artificial intelligence powered experiences such as chatbots. It sounds like a big topic that is complicated, but I would actually say if as a small business you are very discreet and look to very simple functions that will free up your own personal time, and you can have a certain level of customer service handled through a chatbot, for example, that is your FAQ. There's not a lot of damage you can create if it's a controlled slice, but you're freeing yourself up to do something more valuable or build your business or add a new service.
Now, a lot of people think we're too small to make a difference. You know, we're just a tiny startup, there's like 5 of us, you know, whatever we do is not going to make a difference either way. There's a really important reason why that is wrong, and that reason is something we talk about a lot at Trend Watching. It's called expectation transfer, and that's this idea that new innovations change what customers expect. They basically change the way human beings behave and the way they think. If you think about Uber and the way it's changed the way we all behave and the way we think, what we expect, like one-touch service, and how that expectation has spread. Okay, small innovations can do that too. People don't just have to buy them; they can just see them to have their expectations changed and force the big players in the end to change to accommodate those new expectations. So you don't have to be a massive organization or a massive startup or a massive unicorn to change the world. You can do it when you're very small.
So one thing, for example, we've been thinking about is how do you develop in this new world, as digital changes yet again, how do you develop new brands? I think it looks very challenging to develop a new brand in this. So if I was starting a business now, I would think long and hard about how am I going to be discoverable, because that is changing yet again.
I guess so, yeah, if you want to look for your own trends, I would say the first thing is to be curious and to always question what you see. Don't just accept that it is so. Challenge yourself to think more. There are also lots of free sources online where you can find things. There's lots of TED Talks, there's lots of webinars, there's lots of stuff that you can use to educate yourself. And also be very open to the things you consume. Like maybe you don't just always read the same newspaper. Challenge yourself to go to an exhibition that you might not usually go to, or watch a film that you think is outside of your interests, or find a new documentary. And all of that kind of forces you to be curious about the world that's around you and just pick up on small signals and small details that you can then incorporate and weave into your projects or your startup or your ideas.
I know it's been an interesting time in Brazil, it's been a pretty fractious time, but just like the rest of the world, you know, there's never been a better time to be an innovator. It's a challenging environment in Brazil right now, and I'm by no means an expert in the Brazilian market, but I know it's a challenging environment. Any challenging environment is redolent with opportunity. So think about how you can start to solve some of the problems that people are facing, how you can put innovation to work to make lives easier, and you know, that's a winning strategy. That's very hard, you know, it's easy to say that, it's very hard to do, but you know, it can be done, and I'm sure we're going to see some amazing Brazilian innovation in the years ahead.
Gostou desse vídeo? Não se esqueça de curtir, compartilhar e de se inscrever no nosso canal, pois a nossa viagem em busca de histórias inspiradoras e de muitas lições para você continua aqui no Sebrae Trends. Até a próxima!